Some believe the Vatican has not disclosed the full contents of Fatima's third secret. Priest Malachi Martin, who had access to the unrevealed parts of this secret, has now chosen to share everything he knows about the contents of the Vatican archives. Martin asserted that the Third Secret of Fatima had far-reaching implications beyond what the Vatican has made public. Do you think the Vatican has fully revealed the Third Secret, or is there still a hidden part we will never learn about? Is there truly a missing text of the Third Secret? The evidence suggests that something is indeed missing. Why is the Vatican hiding part of the Fatima secret? Is it because the whole secret contains a terrifying conspiracy that could shake the world? Join us in this video as we delve into the real reason why a portion of Fatima's third secret remains undisclosed. Let's hear the truth from a priest who read Fatima's complete third secret. First, a bit of background. In 1917, Our Lady appeared to 3 children in Fatima, Portugal. Among various messages and miracles, she entrusted the children with a secret that held different implications for different people. Although 2 of the children died a few years later, the third, Lucia Santos, lived a long life as a Carmelite nun. In 1941, Lucia revealed in a memoir that the secret had 3 parts. Although she published the first 2 secrets, Lucia chose not to disclose the third secret. Rather, she transcribed the secret and gave it to her local bishop, asking him to present it to the Pope and guarantee its public release by 1960. In 1957, she sent the secret to Rome, but when 1960 arrived, the Vatican decided not to release it, stating that it was likely to remain sealed forever. After decades of speculation and controversy, including a dramatic incident in 1981 when someone hijacked a plane and demanded that Pope John Paul Roman II release the secret, the Vatican finally made the third secret public in 2000. The revealed secret depicted an apocalyptic vision, seemingly predicting the assassination attempt on John Paul Roman II, and urged people to seek penance. This disclosure, however, did not end the controversy. Many years after the Vatican revealed what it claimed was the full Third Secret of Fatima, numerous people remained unsatisfied. They suspected that the Vatican was still concealing a crucial part of the secret. Among these skeptics was Italian journalist Antonio Soxai, who accused the Vatican of not releasing the complete text, pointing out various inconsistencies between the released version and earlier descriptions of the secret. Adding to the suspicion, a rumor emerged that Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, the future Pope Benedict Roman XVI, had privately confided to his friend, Father Ingo Dollinger, that the Vatican had withheld a portion of the secret. The rumored missing section was believed to foreshadow a disastrous council and a calamitous mass. Given Lucia's specific request to make the secret public by 1960, this rumor gained traction, further fueling doubts about the Vatican's transparency. This seemed to refer to the Second Vatican Council and the subsequent liturgical reforms, which remain controversial for many traditionalists. According to Christopher Ferrara, U.S. attorney and Catholic commentator who spoke at the conference, the evidence points to one conclusion: something is missing. Ferrara highlighted a series of incongruities and inconsistencies in the Vatican's account. Among those truly familiar with the events at Fatima, he noted, only a minority firmly believe that the ambiguous vision of a bishop dressed in white outside a half-ruined city is all there is to the third secret. Some argue that the third secret of Fatima contained a prophecy so traumatic and dire that several popes decided not to disclose it to the faithful. However, the 2000 publication of the text merely represented the Church's historical battles with 20th century ideologies. Critics believe there's good reason to think the third secret wasn't just about the Church battling external forces, but also about Satan working within the Church at the highest levels. Some have inferred that the secret predicted changes in the Second Vatican Council, particularly in liturgy and ecumenical dialogue, as part of the Great Apostasy, a notion that church leaders refuse to acknowledge. This possibility sounds quite alarming, suggesting that the Third Secret of Fatima likely does not merely refer to the Pope in white, who was later believed to be Pope John Paul Roman II fulfilling the prophecy, but points to a broader crisis of faith and pastoral negligence. According to this interpretation, Russia plays a significant role in these events. Before his death in 1999, Father Malachi Martin, who had read the entire Third Secret, indicated that its implications were far-reaching and deeply unsettling. This belief that the Third Secret involves a profound crisis within the Church rather than just past struggles continues to fuel ongoing controversy and speculation among the faithful. He conducted a series of interviews with both Art Bell and Bernard Jansen, during which the topic of the Third Secret frequently arose. Although Martin did not directly disclose its contents, he discussed it in general terms. Martin noted that Fatima's message extended beyond Russia, as anticipated, to include Ukraine, particularly Kiev. In a particularly shocking revelation, a listener informed Martin that a priest claimed to have read the Third Secret and said that the last pope would be under Satan's control. When Pope John XXIII read this, he reportedly fainted, believing it referred to him. Martin confirmed, saying, "Yes, it sounds as if they were reading the text of the Third Secret." Interestingly, Martin had previously made as full a disclosure of the Third Secret as he ever would in his 1990 book, The Keys of This Blood. This has led many to believe he had access to the text of the Third Secret, possibly as early as 1959, shortly after Pope John XXIII read it prematurely. In his book, Martin didn't hold back, writing that Lucia's single-page formulation of the Third Secret covered three main topics: man-made or natural catastrophes on land, water, and in the atmosphere chastise the nations physically. A spiritual chastisement is far more frightening and distressing, especially for Roman Catholics, as it would involve the disappearance of religious belief and a period of widespread unfaith in many countries. These revelations continue to intrigue and alarm those who follow the mysteries of Fatima, suggesting a profound crisis within the Church and the world at large. Alongside the man-made or natural disasters and the spiritual punishment directed specifically at Catholics, Martin emphasized that these were intertwined with the third critical aspect, Russia's pivotal role. According to Lucia's letter, the physical and spiritual chastisements are linked to a fateful timeline, with Russia acting as the catalyst. In his best-selling book, Martin did not sugarcoat the secret. Martin clarified that the purpose of the chastisements was to penalize nations for their ungodliness and disregard for God's laws. However, he also mentioned that in 1960, there was still hope for averting these dire events if Mary fulfilled two specific requests. First, whoever served as Pope in 1960 should publish the text of the Third Secret for the entire world to read and understand. Second, the Pope, together with all his bishops acting in unity, should consecrate Russia to Mary. Martin repeatedly stressed that, according to the Third Secret, Russia was the key to the timeline. The fulfillment of these two requests would prevent mankind from facing physical and spiritual chastisements. Instead, Russia would convert to religious belief, leading to a period of immense peace and prosperity. John XZI's pontificate did not meet either of these conditions. Martin lamented the fact that Russia's collegial consecration to the Immaculate Heart of Mary did not occur in October 1962, when 2,500 bishops gathered at the Vatican to open the Second Vatican Council. Martin cited Pope John Paul II's explanation as to why previous popes had not published the secret or complied with the request regarding Russia. By weaving together the physical and spiritual chastisements with Russia's pivotal role, Martin painted a comprehensive picture of the Third Secret of Fatima. He highlighted the missed opportunities and the potential for redemption that hinged on two crucial actions that, if taken, could have changed the course of history and ushered in an era of peace. My predecessors in the Petrine office, John XXIII, Paul VI, and John Paul I chose to diplomatically delay the publication of the Third Secret to avoid provoking the communist world power into taking certain actions. On March 25, 1984, Pope John Paul II conducted a ceremony to consecrate the world to Mary's Immaculate Heart. However, at the last moment, he decided not to specifically mention Russia. Before we delve further, it's important to highlight that Our Lady of Fatima promised peace through her intercession, stating that if the Pope and all bishops heeded her request, consecration of Russia to her Immaculate Heart and the promotion of the 5 First Saturdays devotion, Russia would convert and peace would prevail. She warned that ignoring these requests would spread Russia's errors worldwide, leading to wars and church persecution. The Holy Father would suffer greatly, and various nations would face annihilation. When Sister Lucia asked our Lord in 1936 why he would not convert Russia and bring about peace without the specific consecration, he responded that he wanted his whole church to recognize this consecration as the triumph of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, thereby promoting devotion to her Immaculate Heart alongside devotion to his Sacred Heart. Returning to March 25, 1984, according to the late Father Gabriel Amorth, Pope John Paul Roman II made a timid attempt to consecrate Russia in St. Peter's Square. Amorth, who was close to the Pope during the event, explained that the Pope was surrounded by political pressures. Politicians advised him not to name Russia explicitly. Despite his repeated inquiries about whether he could name Russia, they insisted he refrain from doing so. Thus, the consecration did not explicitly mention Russia, leading to continued speculation and debate about whether it met Our Lady of Fatima's specific requests and whether it would fulfill the promised conversion and peace. Father Malachi Martin also confirmed that Freemasonic globalists within the ranks of the cardinals and bishops themselves had sabotaged the consecration of Russia. However, the mystery still lingers. When Professor Dollinger claimed that Pope Benedict Roman XVI had confided in him about the incomplete publication of the Third Secret of Fatima, the Holy See press office issued a firm response. They stated that Pope Benedict Roman XVI never spoke with Professor Dollinger about Fatima and affirmed that the remarks attributed to him were pure inventions and absolutely untrue. The statement decisively confirmed that the publication of the Third Secret of Fatima was complete. Cardinal Tarcisio Bertone, involved in the publication of the Third Secret, explained that one reason for making it public in 2000 was to counter absurd theories about catastrophic events or heresy at the highest levels of the Church. Despite his involvement and clear communication, some people still believe the Vatican is hiding something. In 2006, an Italian journalist fueled these suspicions by publishing a book titled The Fourth Secret of Fatima, which proposed a Vatican conspiracy theory and garnered significant publicity. In response, Cardinal Bertone wrote his own book in 2007, The Last Visionary of Fatima, which reiterated the official version of the Fatima messages and secrets, based on extensive conversations with Sister Lucia dos Santos, the last of the visionaries to die. In various TV appearances, Cardinal Bertone strongly denied any theories of a Vatican cover-up. Pope Benedict Roman XVI was also personally involved in the publication of the Third Secret. As Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, the Vatican's top doctrinal official, he presented the text to the press and provided a detailed commentary on it. The news conference on June 26, 2000, remains memorable for Vatican journalists. The anticipation was high, as the text was believed to be too disturbing to reveal. However, Cardinal Ratzinger began by deflating these expectations, announcing that there was nothing apocalyptic, no great mystery revealed, and no future unveiled. He went on to provide a theological framework for the apparitions and messages of Fatima, emphasizing that in the Church's tradition, prophecy is not like a film preview, but more akin to offering signs that can be useful for Christians. Cardinal Ratzinger explained that this perspective helps to understand the Third Secret's vision of a bishop in white struggling up a hill amid the corpses of slain martyrs, only to fall dead after being shot by soldiers. Whether this bishop symbolized Pope John Paul Roman II, who was shot and wounded on May 13, 1981, remains a subject of interpretation. Father Nicholas Gruner, a Canadian priest who founded the Fatima Crusader magazine, has long argued that Russia has not yet been consecrated to Mary according to the precise instructions of Our Lady of Fatima. Father Gruner asserted, "We haven't had the conversion of Russia by any stretch of the imagination, not militarily, not morally. It's the largest abortion capital in the world. There's just no sign of conversion in any sense." This ongoing issue has become a point of frustration for the Vatican. Church officials maintain that Pope John Paul Roman II, in 1984, led the world's bishops in the consecration of Russia and the world. The late Sister Lucia, one of the 3 Portuguese children who saw Mary in 1917 and who received the instructions for the consecration, confirmed that it was properly performed, thus declaring the matter closed. However, speculation about Fatima's final secret has continued to run rampant, especially after the death of Sister Maria Lucia, the last living Fatima visionary. Despite the Vatican's official stance, numerous believers and scholars continue to question whether the full contents of the Third Secret have been revealed and whether the consecration was done precisely as requested by Our Lady of Fatima. This ongoing debate reflects the deep intrigue and concern surrounding the Fatima prophecies and their implications for the Church and the world. On February 13th, speculation reignited about the details of the Third Secret of Fatima, which was entrusted to Sister Lucia in 1917 by an apparition recognized by the Catholic Church as the Virgin Mary. Despite assurances from the cloistered Carmelite nun that she had fully revealed all she witnessed during the Marian apparitions in 3 separate messages, a cottage industry has developed both in print and online, fueled by the belief that the entirety of the Third Secret has been withheld. Religious and laypeople alike speculate that the Vatican has orchestrated an elaborate cover-up to conceal part of the final message, fearing that its release would cause panic among the world's billion Catholics. This speculation has only intensified following Sister Lucia's passing. The long-standing interest in Fatima's last secret has taken on a mysterious allure reminiscent of the best-selling novel, The Da Vinci Code: Dark Secrets Hidden Behind Vatican Walls. An assassination attempt on the Pope, earnest explanations by high-ranking ecclesiastical authorities, Satan, and a humble Catholic nun trying to remain faithful to the Mother of God. The irony of the controversy is that the Blessed Mother's requests were quiet yet had the potential for thunderous global effects, far more dramatic than the wildest speculations about the message's contents. At the heart of all 3 messages are the Virgin Mary's instructions, the conversion of sinners, penance, seeking salvation, praying the Rosary, making the communion of reparation on 5 consecutive First Saturdays, and fostering worldwide devotion to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Despite the Vatican's official statements, the enduring intrigue and controversy surrounding the Third Secret continue to captivate the faithful and curious alike. The ongoing debate reflects a deep fascination with the Fatima prophecies and their implications for the Church and the world. The reward for following the lady's wishes is peace. The punishment for ignoring them is the strengthening of Satan's influence. Some of the faithful believe that the devil is already present in the Catholic Church, citing a comment attributed to Pope Paul Roman VI, who supposedly observed the devil's smoke, pause, and tail within the Church. The Third Secret includes Sister Lucia's recollection of a vision in which she first sees Our Lady of the Rosary, accompanied by an angel wielding a flaming sword and crying out, "Penance, penance, penance." However, the lady prevents the flames from scorching the ground. Lucia also described seeing an unidentified cleric in white, interpreted as the Pope, leading bishops, religious, and the faithful up a hill to a large wooden cross. Soldiers were waiting there and killed the Pope and others with guns and arrows. Lucia recounted how 2 angels stood on either side of the cross, collecting the blood of the martyrs and sprinkling it on the remaining faithful. Additionally, Sister Lucia wrote about seeing the Pope walking through a partially destroyed city in great distress, blessing the dead. When Pope John Paul II was in the hospital recovering from a gunshot wound, he asked to read the Third Secret. He believed that Mary had guided the bullet to spare his life. The lady had told the 3 children at Fatima that the Pope in the vision would suffer greatly. Supporters of the interpretation that Pope John Paul II is the Pope in the vision point to his health history as evidence. This vision and its interpretation have led to ongoing speculation and debate. The vivid imagery and prophetic warnings continue to intrigue believers, contributing to the enduring mystery and significance of the Third Secret of Fatima. The vision's potential implications for the Church and its followers remain a source of deep fascination and concern. This Pope has endured Parkinson's disease, surgeries to remove a tumor, replace a hip, repair a shoulder, and mend a broken leg, among other injuries. Yet amidst these trials, his principal message remains steadfast: repentance for our sins, performing penance as reparation, and praying for sinners who have no one else to intercede for them. Kevin J. Simmons, author of the published third part of The Secret of Fatima, presents a scholarly challenge to those who argue for the existence of an unrevealed text of the Third Secret of Fatima, given by Sister Lucia to the Blessed Virgin Mary in 1917. In an interview, Simmons also disclosed the existence of a previously unknown letter from Sister Lucia to Pope Paul Roman VI, addressing a diabolical revolt against the Church, a theme seemingly linked to both the second and third parts of The Secret. In 2013, the Carmelites of the convent of St. Teresa in Coimbra, Portugal, where Sister Lucia lived for 57 years, published a biography titled Caminho Sabo Olhar de Maria, A Pathway Under the Gaze of Mary. This biography revealed a previously undisclosed directive from Our Lady to Sister Lucia on January 3, 1944, instructing her to write what her superiors commanded, but not to divulge the full understanding of its meaning. Apparently, by 1944, Sister Lucia had received prophetic insights into the third part of The Secret, which she was not permitted to share with others. This revelation sheds light on why some perceive the text of The Secret as incomplete. Simmons emphasized the necessity of accepting the logical consequences of this directive, with the most apparent being the challenge of fully comprehending Sister Lucia's obedience to her superiors, despite her deep insights and revelations. When Sister Lucia wrote down the accompanying explanation to the third part of The Secret in 1944, it was evident from other primary source documents available in 2000 that she was reluctant to discuss her mystical experiences. Until 2013, there had been no detailed document describing the apparition from January 1944, only the knowledge of its occurrence. This lack of specific details warranted caution before drawing conclusions. Some argued that the Vatican was concealing a second text of the third part of The Secret, leading to sensationalized propaganda and accusations of scandal and Vatican intrigue, a real cloak and dagger narrative that resonated with concerned Catholics about the state of the Church. One well-known document is Sister Lucia's letter to Bishop José da Silva on January 9, 1944. In June, Kevin Simmons visited the Sister Lucia Museum in Coimbra, overseen by the Carmelites of Coimbra at Sister Lucia's convent. On display was the first page of an unpublished and undated letter from Sister Lucia to Pope Paul Roman VI. In this letter, she wrote a beautiful and encouraging message, akin to one that St. Padre Pio wrote to the Holy Father in September 1968. Sister Lucia described a diabolical revolt being promoted by the powers of darkness, attacking God, His Church, and its doctrines and dogmas. She likened the Church's plight to an agony in Gethsemane and spoke of a global disorientation that was causing martyrdom within the Church. Her letter aimed to encourage Pope Paul Roman VI as the Vicar of Christ on earth, expressing her and others' steadfastness to him, to Christ, and to his Church in the face of this revolt. These revelations and writings continue to provoke deep reflection and debate among believers and scholars alike, highlighting the enduring fascination and complexities surrounding the Third Secret of Fatima and its implications for the Catholic Church. I've spent time studying the third part of The Secret, and I noticed how much Senior Lucia's words resemble what's in the second and third parts. She talks about the Church going through a tough time like in Gethsemane and facing martyrdom because of confusion worldwide. This is similar to the third part, which shows the Church suffering globally as it moves towards a crisis. The cause of this suffering, as the second part explains, is the errors of Russia warned about by Our Lady. These errors have led to wars, persecution of the Church, and hardships for the Pope. In June 1958, Senior Lucia wrote to Pope Pius Roman XII, predicting that communism would be at its peak in the 1960s. This shows how those loyal to Christ endure hardship during this ongoing struggle. Pope John Paul Roman II also gave us an important clue. The third secret is about the infallible teachings of faith. These teachings tell us what is true and condemn what is wrong. Those who stick to condemned errors without repenting risk losing salvation unless they change their ways before they die. Therefore, it's our duty to stand up for the truths of our faith openly, protecting people from false teachings. The Church has clearly denounced these errors and those clergy and believers who refuse to let go of them. Pope John Paul II's revelation helped us understand what the third secret is really about and its deep meaning for us. Pope John Paul II warned us in May 2000 about the dangers facing our faith today. In his sermon, he referenced a passage predicting that a third of the stars of heaven would fall to earth by the tail of the dragon. Catholic scholars traditionally interpret this as referring to a third of the clergy undermining the Catholic faith and endangering souls by aligning with evil forces. Other reliable sources, including Cardinal Ratzinger and Father Malachi Martin, also confirm that the third secret warns about threats to the faith and the lives of Christians, and consequently, to the world. When Our Lady said in Portugal that the dogma of the faith would always be preserved, it implies that this preservation won't be universal, as many clergy and faithful in different parts of the world are not adhering to these solemn teachings. To protect your Catholic faith, you must actively live a devout life, engage with solid Catholic literature, and avoid negative influences like bad books, magazines, and TV programs. It's also crucial to steer clear of individuals who undermine your faith. Grace is essential and attainable through prayer, particularly the daily rosary. To avoid confusion, reject false shepherds and heretics who claim deeper insight into the gospel but do not adhere to the infallible teachings of faith. By embracing these infallible definitions, faithful Catholics can discern right from wrong in accordance with the gospel. This clarity allows them to recognize errors, regardless of the position or status of those spreading them within the Church. The infallible nature of these teachings ensures they are unwavering and reliable guides for faith and moral discernment. Sometimes a pope, an ecumenical council, a cardinal, a bishop, a priest, or a layperson may fail. However, the solemn definitions declared by the Pope alone or together with an ecumenical council are infallible and can never be wrong. This is the warning Our Lady of Fatima gave us and the guidance she provided to safeguard our own souls and the souls of those around us. In essence, this is what the third secret is about. Now, the question is, what can we do about it to ensure our salvation? As I mentioned earlier, pray the Rosary daily and deepen your understanding of the dogmas of the Catholic faith, particularly the infallible teachings. By doing so, we stand on firm ground spiritually and can navigate the challenges to our faith with clarity and strength. As we conclude today's discussion on faith in God, remember that our journey of faith is one of continuous growth and devotion. Let us commit to prayer, to studying the teachings of our Church, and to living out our faith in our daily lives. Together, we can strengthen our spiritual foundation, inspire those around us, and embrace the transformative power of God's love. Thank you for joining us on this path of faith. May God bless you abundantly, and until next time, may your faith continue to illuminate your way.